I've got a cold open prepared. Okay.
Okay.
So, Rich,
Michael.
how are you?
Good.
Okay. I have a website pulled up here. It is called conversationstartersworld.com. It is a collection of about 1,700 questions that you hit a little button on your phone
Yeah.
or whatever you're using, your tablet or your computer reader or whatever, and it'll just spit out a random question. So when I was thinking about recording the podcast earlier, I was just like, when we started BitPunch, we've done some personal stuff, like especially like with the health updates and all that. But like we kind of tease resume play from time to time,
Yeah.
or we're just like, we kind of went in with this with already like a decade relationship, but we haven't really done a good job. 26 episodes, 27 episodes. You know what? Now that I'm saying this, I better pull up the show notes.
This is 26.
However, thank you. 26 episodes into this, and we just haven't really like talked about ourselves a whole lot anyway. So as I'm pulling up these show notes here, I wanted to, let me drag this over here. Sorry, we are doing a live show, and I'm full screened for some reason. So I'm gonna just like drag this. Can I drag this over here? This is terrible. Really good radio right now. I get it. There we go. Okay. All right. So back to this. So this is our cold open, right?
Yep.
I am going to just start hitting next on this. Try to get to know each other a little more. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let me take a drink here. All right. So we have 1,700 of these. So if we don't have anything for a cold open, we can always pull out the conversationstarterworld.com and start talking to each other.
Perfect.
Okay. The next question. Now these are, hopefully they don't get like too political or like religious or something. If they do, we can just skip those. But this first one is a super easy icebreaker. Here, me and you are going out on a date. Okay.
Great.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Both.
Okay. You just don't sleep?
Well, I mean, I like to get up early, and I also stay up pretty late. So
what is late to you?
Between 11 and midnight.
That's late.
Pretty regularly.
Yeah. Can you wake up at what time?
Like if I'm gonna do something, like I like to get up and like work out or like go ride my bike, and I can get up at like 5 and go do that if I need to.
So you're sleeping like 5 hours a night?
I mean, if I know I'm gonna go do that, I'll go to bed a little earlier. But
sure.
But yeah.
Okay. So I am not
So to go along with that, I also have sleep apnea, which is great. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You want to dig into that a little bit, or?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I mean, sleep apnea, I literally choke to death while I sleep, so I don't get enough sleep. I only sleep 5-6 hours a night, and while I'm sleeping, I'm dying. So it's great.
I don't mean to laugh at that, but health is kind of a weird topic for us right now. So, wow. So how long have you sleep with the machine?
Yep.
How long have you been doing that for?
Oh boy, probably 7 years. 6-7 years.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you hate this thing, or is it like
no.
You love it?
It's like the third best thing that's ever happened to me. It's just a little like nasal thing that goes on your nose, and it just forces air, and so you got to keep your mouth closed. If you're a mouth breather, you got to get a full face mask. It's rough.
I have a friend that he says he puts his on, and as he's putting his strap on, he's falling asleep on himself. Like it's almost like clockwork for him, where he instantly, like, he gets it on, and it's just like boom, he's asleep. So he like sometimes it's like halfway up his head, and he's just like already out of it. Like it's just instant.
Yeah.
But I am a morning person. I'm not a night owl. If, say, me and my wife are like, let's watch a movie, if I do not get that movie started by like 8 o'clock, then I'm going to fall asleep.
Man.
I have to snack if I want to stay awake. So I'm constantly like eating popcorn or something like salty just to try to keep me going.
Yeah.
But no, like I wake up around 5 or 5:30. I've been getting on Twitch and streaming Final Fantasy. Been waking up and streaming Yakuza on the weekends. So it's like my little bit of free time that I get before the kids wake up or the wife wakes up or whatever. So
Yep.
we are opposites of each other. She is a night owl, but we also have like total respect for each other. So when I wake up, I'm like ready to go. You know, I can get up and I'm moving. And she is not like that at all. So I don't expect her to like, after she wakes up, like several hours after I wake up, she still needs that little bit of period of her to just be like, okay, I need to figure out like what's today, what's on the agenda.
Yeah.
And so I'm not like bombarding her already being awake for like 2 to 3 hours. Like, so what are we going to do today? You know, like what's going on? I see that there's not anything on the calendar. Can I just start loading that calendar up with stuff? Do you want me to go ahead and start laundry? I went ahead and loaded the dishwasher, and I just wanted to let you know that I did that, and I made you some breakfast. I've got coffee going already.
Yep.
But then at nighttime is where she's like ready to rock and roll. You know, she's like, I would clean the house at midnight or 1 o'clock. But she also knows that I'm like passing out on myself. So I can't. We're just complete opposites of each other with that. But total respect there. So
yeah.
Let's do one more. That one actually sparked a lot more conversation than I thought. I thought we'd get through like 4 or 5 of these, but
yeah.
All right, here's the next one. Oh my gosh. What unethical experiment would have the biggest positive impact on society as a whole?
So I think you could probably say that roughly
we're kind of living through that right now.
45% of the country probably believes we're living that now, right? Like,
okay, I think we're good here. I'm gonna bookmark this site. I love it. What a great second question. Out of 1,700 questions, that was the second question. So
that's not that surprising, knowing the way websites work and algorithms work. They want to trigger you early. Because now you can't stop. Now you got to know what's next after that.
Okay. Hey, Rich.
Hey, Michael.
And welcome everybody to BitPunch Radio episode 026. Rich, how you been?
Pretty good. Busy.
We're a little late to this episode. Hopefully I'll be able to get this published on Monday, if not Tuesday. But yeah, we've both been kind of busy. We're starting some new things here over at BitPunch. Well, I'm sure we'll get into that. But why don't you kick us off? What have you been up to?
Let's see. Well, I went on vacation. Went to Virginia Beach to visit a family member. Spent like 4 or 5 days there.
Did you take your bike?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I took the bike. Rode a lot. That was my first. I think that was our kid's first time to the beach. So.
Oh, nice.
Like first time at the ocean and all that stuff. So that was pretty cool. But pretty good vacation. But BitPunch wise, I listened to the Blood of Elves, the Witcher book, all the way down and all the way back, and ended up finishing that book. I think that's the third book. It's the third book in the order you're supposed to read them. I think it's the first book that's like a normal storybook instead of a bunch of short stories.
Mm-hmm.
So it pretty much follows Ciri and like her and Geralt coming together and like some of her training. Like I think the Netflix show is about to get into Blood of Elves territory.
So what did I read then? What was the second book about? Because I thought the second book was a lot about Ciri, and there were several chapters that Geralt wasn't a part of at all.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
it did
Sword of
seem
Destiny,
very scattered.
Yeah, yeah. Sword of Destiny jumps around a lot, and
Okay.
but it kind of leaves off with Geralt coming to the conclusion that like Ciri is his destiny, and Blood of Elves picks up from that point and goes. Yeah.
Okay. Overall, you liking the series so far? Are you going to continue?
It's really good. It's good. I mean, those are old books. There's some weird stuff in there, but they're pretty good. I like them. I'm gonna keep reading them. I already started the next book. I think it's Time of Contempt. It's just interesting, like hearing more about these characters because I love the game so much, and like there's like kind of third tier characters from the games that are now showing up in the books. And I'm like, oh, that's that person. Like,
is like the Bloody Baron. Does he rear his head at some point in the books?
I don't think so yet so far. So you know the first sorceress you meet, Kira Metz?
Yeah.
She just showed up in this book.
Oh, wow.
Time of Contempt. Yep.
See, I'm curious what is a CD Projekt Red character and what is an actual story from or a character from the lore of things.
Right. Yeah.
I'll be curious. Like, as you meet like other characters. Now, I've only put about 20 hours, I'll say 3 different times, because I felt like I would always get to a certain spot in The Witcher and then I would fall off of it. But
yeah,
I just need you to play through that entire game and stream it so I can just watch you play it. Because I don't think I'll
would
ever
love to do that.
Yeah. So that they're supposed to be doing some sort of enhanced version of that again. Like,
yeah, I think they're doing a like new consoles version. Yeah.
Do you think that would come to PC?
So PC actually has mods, and I actually downloaded The Witcher 3 on PC yesterday, and installed a mod that like reworks all the textures. Like that game looks amazing.
How does Shadow run it?
Awesome. Like at ultra. 60 frames a second. Yeah, it really made me want to start playing that again, but I kind of stopped myself because I'm like, I'll never finish Outer Worlds.
You're wiping your stuff on your blade. You're just like, all right, the oils, let's do this.
Yep. So that's a good book. I'm going to keep reading those, listening to those. I really like the narrator, and so far it's been the same narrator for the audiobooks. So yeah, I'm going to keep plugging away at those. The other big news was I got into the Halo Infinite technical preview. That's what they're calling it. They're not calling it an alpha or a beta. Essentially what it is they've opened up multiplayer, and I say multiplayer with some quotations, from, let's see, the 29th of July until the 2nd of August. So that's tomorrow.
Okay. So you can play tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just a weekend, essentially. So what they've done is they've opened up Infinite multiplayer. They kind of have the battle pass in there. They have like a gun range where you can go and shoot the guns and kind of mess around. But the multiplayer is with bots so far. I guess on Monday, tomorrow, they're going to turn it loose to like true PvP multiplayer.
So you weren't playing with people?
So I had other humans on my team. It was PvE. So it was a team of 4 humans versus a team of 4 bots. Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
That's strange.
And I think they had 3 maps that they rotated. I got to play all 3. They were pretty good. But for the most part, for that game, it's all about how it feels. So obviously I played a ton of Halo 2 and Halo 3. Did not like Halo 4. Did not like Halo 5. Reach is okay. I think I kind of fell off like when they started introducing a lot of like gimmicks, like the jetpack and like all these different things to like make it more like these other games, you know, Call of Duty and all this stuff. And that's just not what Halo is to me. So and just the way the weapons feel, just the way the game feels is different. This game definitely feels way closer to Halo 3 than anything that they've released in a while. There's still some gimmicky stuff in there. There's still some things that I don't like. One of the things they started doing, I think, with 5 is, so on a Halo map, it's sort of like an old school multiplayer map where all the weapons, everybody spawns with the same weapons. Assault rifle, pistol. And then all the weapons are spread across the map, and you've got to know where those weapons spawn. And you go and you pick them up. And those spots on the map kind of become these, like, pinch points and target points and things like that. And so, and like weapons like the sniper, like power weapons or the rocket launcher, they're on timers. So if you pick up the rocket and all the timers are different for different maps. Like on one map it might be 3 minutes, the next map it might be 2 minutes. And so if you know what that timer is, you pick up the rocket, die, 2 minutes from when you picked it up, it's going to spawn again. So you can go back and get it.
So is that something that's just kind of in your mind? Like you're just counting down the time as you're playing?
Yeah, and there's certain maps where everybody rushes rockets or rushes over shield or something like that. And then once you grab it, it's like the matches are 12 minutes long. So if you grab it right at the beginning of the match, it spawns at 9 minutes because it's 3 minutes.
Oh, my gosh.
And so that's the way like Halo 3, Halo 2, Legacy, Halo games play.
So that's why I sucked, right? Because I never would do the counting card technique of trying to find the best guns.
Yeah, well, you'll like this new game because it literally pops up a waypoint and says, hey, the sniper's spawning in 10 seconds. And so everybody knows.
Wow,
and so everybody pushes. And I understand why they do that, but I kind of don't like it. But I get it, right? You want more people to engage with that.
Sure.
So it all in all, it feels really good. I like the battle rifle. I like the pistol's kind of overpowered. Obviously, this is a technical preview, so this isn't a final game or anything. But it felt good. I had fun. The bots were, pretty good for bots. There's a lot of like armor customization, a lot of stuff they have in Master Chief Collection. The biggest change that I noticed is it's no longer red versus blue. All that armor customization you get to do, like your color, you carry over. And what they do to the enemy team is they give them this like weird like red glow or like red outline. And you can actually change that. If you're colorblind, you can change it to green, blue, yellow, red for what you want the enemy to show up as. That's really weird. That was a little hard to get used to. It was kind of hard to tell like who was the enemy at first. But yeah, I liked it quite a bit. It has a Dead Space gun that I found that was pretty.
Yeah, what was that called?
Cool. Heat Wave.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you've never played Dead Space,
and it rotates like the.
Yeah. It has like a spread shot that this is really bad for the people listening to this, but it has like a spread shot that shoots horizontal, and then if you click a button, it'll turn vertical, which is cool, and that's kind of the whole gimmick behind that Dead Space game. But yeah, some cool weapons, no vehicles, obviously no single player, but yeah, had a lot of fun with that thing.
You had some issues with it Saturday night. Did they ever say like what happened or?
No, I think they're just I think that's why they put this up there, or are doing this is to test their dedicated servers, test things out, probably try different things. With this game being on Game Pass day one, I'm sure it's going to get hit pretty hard. So that's probably part of the reason why they're doing this. But yeah, Saturday, I think I tried to get into probably 15 matches and ended up playing about 2.
Ooh.
It would just kick me back out and just wouldn't connect. So not all that surprising. But for the most part, it ran pretty good. And I ran it on Xbox One. I didn't get into the PC flight. So hopefully if they do future flights, I'll get into PC and I can try to play it on Shadow.
And that comes out this year, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess, them calling that a technical preview, I think if they released an alpha with them being like 3 months out would probably worry some people. So I'd say calling that a technical preview is probably the right call there. What are you going to buy it for?
I'm not going to buy it because I have Game Pass. It'll be on Game Pass.
That's right.
Multiplayer's free.
Man.
Multiplayer costs nothing. Yeah.
So what would you buy then? The just single player?
No, because it's single players on Game Pass too.
No. I mean, if you weren't a Game Pass subscriber, are you just buying the base game, like just the single player?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Could you see them doing some sort of battle royale mode for Halo?
No, but as part of this technical preview, and I don't know how this still happens, but the entire campaign for the game leaked. Apparently, was somehow in the code of this thing, and also
people
somewhere
have
in the code. What's that?
Do people have it?
I think so. I think like large portions of the campaign, like not the actual campaign, but like the story beats, like information about the campaign.
Oh no! So you got to be careful now.
Yeah.
Oh no!
So, but the other thing that people found was a sound file of the announcer saying "Battle Royale." Whoa! Yeah, I know.
Wow.
So it's like, did they just have that guy record that just in case?
Yeah, maybe.
Or is that really a thing?
Was it the same guy?
I think it is.
It sounded different though.
Yeah, it has sounded different for a while. Yeah.
Like maybe when, Halo 2, Halo 3, he was really pulling from his stomach. And here he was just like, it just didn't sound as, I hate to use this word, Rich. It just didn't sound as visceral as it did. Yeah, there you go. Extreme. I like that better than it did in Halo 3. So you excited?
I'm excited. That was fun, man. I play so much Halo 3. I mean, I played thousands of matches in the last
why did
year.
I not fucking connect those dots? The game's going to be on Game Pass. Because I was thinking at first, I was just like, I don't know if I'd buy this or not. Like, I'm not the biggest Halo fan. Like, I appreciate the series.
Yeah.
But then it's fucking free. We got to play through this game together, Yeah. Gosh.
Totally.
Wow.
Totally. Yeah. No,
All right,
I'm excited.
So, are you going to play it tomorrow night?
I'm going to try. Yeah.
Okay.
If it doesn't work, I'll play Outer Worlds. I'll stream one of the two. Yeah.
All right. Yep. When are we playing The Ascent?
Tuesday and Thursday this week. Right?
Let's talk about The Ascent a little bit.
Okay.
That game is okay. So let me set this up. We played that Thursday night?
Yep.
Okay, so my setup, and just to make it quick, I have a 2060 RTX card on a computer that's about 5 years old. It wanted to default to Ultra, which it did the same for you.
Yep.
You stream Shadow. You have a 1080, a GTX 1080 with 8 gig of RAM.
I think so, yes.
And yours also defaulted to Ultra.
Yep.
It was very quickly realized that we cannot play this game in Ultra, which is fine.
Yep.
I have a RTX card though, and I hear that the ray tracing in this game is stellar. But with me streaming and recording and like broadcasting and trying to capture, I gotta reduce the quality of this. I don't think I have my ray tracing on. I think I would have noticed that because of where I've seen other people are like, this game looks incredible if you turn ray tracing on. I kind of want to try that offline just to see like what that looks like. But I think with me and you playing this game together, I don't have the bandwidth to do that. There's just no way. So far it seems it's fun. It's not doing anything new that I've seen so far. It just seems like it's a really fun twin stick shooter. I think we're still way too early though.
I was pretty surprised at how like big it is.
Yes.
Like those maps and like the way they connect and like that hub area were huge.
Yeah, there's like 3 floors or something to the to that kind of main area. We were lost. Like trying to find each other or trying to figure out like where's the weapon shop or where do I upgrade my armor and stuff. It was there's a lot going on. and even just like just stumbling into a corner of the map where you don't think there's anything at all. There's just so much artwork done, just clutter. There's just a lot of clutter in this game.
It's very cyberpunky.
Yeah. I'm really digging it, and I'm really excited to get back into this. But yeah, so we're gonna shoot to play that on Tuesday and Thursday on Twitch. Archive will go up on YouTube if you miss it. But so far, I'm really digging it. I've seen some reviews that say it takes about 20 hours to get through, and I think we are going to try to do some of the side missions because that game can get kind of challenging.
Yeah.
But do we want to okay, so it's a cyberpunk style game. It's a twin stick shooter. Seems like it's loot driven. We made some custom characters, and I don't really understand a whole lot what's going on right now. We're just kind of doing some missions. But I don't think I quite understand what the overall goal is quite yet.
Yeah, me either.
So I guess we'll get there. But overall, I'm digging it. It's got a cool little style to it. So hopefully that continues. But yeah, so far I'm digging it. So that is the Ascent. What else you got?
Not a whole lot. I have new lights, so I'm lit much better now.
Yeah.
My gosh,
we're really leaning into this hard, aren't we?
Hey man, that's like 95% of the fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
it's all the technical stuff.
Yeah. So you've got your green screen. I've got a green screen coming tomorrow, which will improve things a bit. Mm-hmm. So we've got some fancier transitions now. Started using After Effects.
Gosh, what I bind that to? F2?
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Nope,
yeah.
That was the wrong one. Darn it. I think it was F4. There we go.
There it is.
Okay,
yeah.
Sorry for the audio listeners, but we're just playing right now.
Yep. So what's really funny is what happens is when I'll tell you hey, I think I'm gonna try to do something, try to make some stuff, and then I'm the type of person where I'll kind of figure it out. I opened up After Effects, never even looked at it in my life, never opened it. Mm-hmm. Obviously used a lot of other Adobe stuff throughout the years.
Sure.
And it's very similar. But watched some YouTube videos, read some articles. I was like, okay, I can figure this out. And then I just start sending you crap. Every hour there's things coming and you're just yep, he's in that mode now.
Yep, I'm liking this.
Every hour I'm just going to get something. And it's going to be varying levels of bad. But yeah, that's just the way that I get when I
know I've said this on a podcast before, but you just have this fucking I don't know if it's your charm or what, but maybe it's your persistence. Maybe I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Where you're just we need to start a podcast. We need to start podcasting again. I'm like, no, I don't have the time for this, whatever. And then it's okay, maybe we could start recording gameplay footage. We need to start our YouTube channel. And it's okay. Let's shoot for that. And then you're okay, let's start playing with this Twitch thing. Yeah, okay. And then for some reason, I always get on board with this, and now I'm streaming to Twitch on a daily basis.
Yep.
I did not do that before. And you're just oh, maybe we should look at this. Oh yeah, this is incredibly fun. I'm going to wake up super early so I can do this every morning now, because this is a blast. We might have a very limited audience right now, but it's still super fun to do this. So
yeah. Well, you're part of that though, because you'll look at stuff and be back when we used to build websites, you'd go to other websites, you'd be man, I wish we had that. I wish we could do this, and then fuck. Now I have to figure out how to do that.
I'm your nemesis project manager.
Well, you're the muse. We were talking about streaming and stuff, and you're yeah, I want to do you started messing with the fading transitions and stuff, and I'm
yeah,
I bet I could make something the logo or something. It's oh god, yeah. So we're messing around with that. That's been fun. hoping to start streaming more myself. So yeah, I think we've kind of switched to we're gonna stream as much as we can when we're playing instead of just recording straight to YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah, my plan tomorrow is to play either Outer Worlds or Halo, depending on which one. I'll try Halo offline first because I was actually playing that on the Xbox and having to stream it from the Xbox with my webcam plugged into it, like sitting on a box on a side table with my Xbox pulled out of the console thing. Like, it was a mess, but it worked.
But you got it working.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's all I got.
All right. Well, let me open up my notes here real quick.
I've been watching your Yakuza streams in the morning for a little bit. That game is so weird. Damn
it, Rich. I'm so mad because you were watching the worst possible one in the series.
Yeah, you've been telling me about these, and I loaded up, and you're literally playing Hot Shots Golf, and I'm like, this is, I don't know what those games are, but I'm looking at this, and I'm like, this is a full-fledged golf mini game, like, in here, and it, like, the little, it's got like that power meter where you have to hit the button when it gets up there, and like the ting that it made was like pure Hot Shots. Hot Shots Golf is an old, like cartoon character golf game for like the PlayStation, like back in the day. Loved those games, and I was like, what is he doing? What is this game? And then I was it that same episode? It was that same episode where this kid is telling you that this teacher's like bullying him or something. Or like this kid is bullying. I'm like, man, this is like heavy. It's like 6:30 in the morning. I'm like sitting at my desk watching you as Kiryu talk to this kid about this kid bullying him, and then I think he went golfing with like his teacher, like someone at the school. And then this morning was the same thing, some heavy thing. I was like, oh boy.
I know it's way too early to be getting into that, but oh gosh, yeah. So okay. So I finished Yakuza Kiwami 2. And I told myself that I wanted to do a little palate cleanser. Like, okay. So I played Yakuza 0, and then I took a little break, got into Yakuza 1. Played Yakuza 1. Man, loved it. It was fucking awesome. Took a little break, and I played, oh my gosh. What was that little indie game I played?
Going Under.
Thank you, Going Under. Played Going Under. Great game. Fun as hell. And I was like, okay, let's start Kiwami 2. Play Kiwami 2. Loved it, man. Great game. Fantastic. Loving this series. And then I get into Yakuza 3. So, I lost your feed, by the way.
Oh.
So then I get into Yakuza 3. So when Yakuza 6 released, they, I think it's called the Dragon. It's like the technology that they use to build these games on. So they release Yakuza 6, and then they go back and they do a prequel to the first Yakuza, and it kind of gives you a lot of backstory to Majima Goro, who was like one of the main characters in the game, and to Kiryu, and just kind of setting the stage for what the series is going to end up going through. And it was great. So then they did a complete remake of Yakuza 1 and 2 and called it the Kiwami.
Yep.
So they remastered 3, 4, and 5, but they did not actually go through and do the using the Dragon, what's the word I'm thinking of? It's like Unreal Engine, the Dragon Engine. There we go.
Oh, okay.
So it was just kind of like, it looks really like a PS3 game, which is fine. You know, the PS3 still looks fine. But man, there's such a budget to this game. It was it was really strange to go from Yakuza 2 to this, thinking it would be another one of those rebuilt in this engine. But man, it's rough. And they say it's like one of the worst ones in the series. And that's fine. I can totally get through this. It still has its moments that it's like, okay, I can kind of see what they're doing. But the fighting feels really like rigid and not fluid like all the other games have so far. Yakuza 0 and Yakuza 1, you were like switching fighting styles. And in this game, you're just, it just seems really bare bones. So I know it was like one of the first games on this new technology. And if you talk to any developer that has developed anything on the PlayStation 3, they're all going to tell you like, hey, we had a struggle getting something produced on this on this console. So, okay, I get it. That's fine. But I think the game suffered from that a lot. Like there are a lot of moments that takes place in the Morning Glory orphanage, which is how the game starts. A little bit of spoilers here, but the game starts in the orphanage that Kiryu started. So he was an orphan himself. So he's like, okay, I want to get back to the community. I want to start this orphanage called Morning Glory. You spend way too much time in here. I mean, hours and hours of time, like real time, that you're like just solving these little kid problems. And it's like, okay, I get what they're doing. They are trying to establish this relationship with these kids, because I'm sure at some point some bad shit's gonna happen to these kids, and if I didn't spend these hours with them, it wouldn't have as much of an impact. But the game is really suffering from it because it's making it feel like super slow, and I'm just having a hard time staying engaged with it. I'll get through it because I hear the series picks right back up. You just kind of got to get through this little bit of a lull, which we always talk about when I'm wanting to start these big book series where it's like kind of these middle sections are a little rough, but then it kind of picks back up at the end. So I'm hearing that's what happens with Yakuza as well. I hear 3 and 4 are a little bit but then you can get back into with 5 and 6.
I mean, I was entertained.
I was not, though. I was not having a great time. Yakuza 0, 1, and 2 is so good. They're really good. They tell really cool stories, and just, I know I compared it to like Rush Hour on one of the episodes of BitPunch, which is that's a terrible comparison, but it's kind of like that in a sense, but it's a whole different type of atmosphere. But again, I'm really liking these games. Yakuza 3, I'm getting through it. Everyone I talk to is just like, just get through it. It gets better. Like, you'll be happier on the end. So
try hitting connect again.
Yeah. Okay. So let me pull my notes back up.
There we go.
There you are. Hey, thank you, buddy. Okay. So, hey, since the last time we podcasted, we finished Axiom Verge.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. Doesn't that sound like so far away?
Oh, that was like 3 months ago.
Because you vacationed since then and everything. So, we finished Axiom Verge. I think we've kind of talked about that enough. I don't know if we have any hot takes on that we want to get through.
No, I mean, that's a cool little game. It's a weird game.
Yeah.
I don't know how you play that game without that map.
That has to be that you just play over and over and over, and you just get to a point to where you just completely know that game up and down. We were looking, a little bit of spoiler here. We won't talk about the story at all. We were looking at so after the fact that you play the game, it kind of breaks down your stats where it's like, here's how long it took you to beat it.
Yep.
Here are how many deaths you've had. Here's the percentage of the map that you've unlocked, which mine was actually kind of low. It kind of surprised me that I think it was in the 70s. I don't
60s
remember.
or 70s, yeah.
But there's still the fact that I didn't see 30% of that game Was like, that kind of shocked me. But then you can start breaking down stats where it's like, here is how long it took the top player to finish this game. And there are people that are finishing that game in like well under an hour.
Which is insane.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I got to watch that.
I know. You can. So there's actually a charity out there where it's, I can't remember the name of it, but it's
Games Done Quick.
Thank you. And I would love to see a Games Done Quick of Axiom Verge, because
I'm sure it's out there.
I just don't understand how somebody gets through that game that fast. I mean, there are moments. It took me 12 hours to get through that.
Yeah.
And the fact that people are getting in there 45 minutes, like
the way that it gates you with those
I know.
tools and like power-ups and stuff, I don't see how you could do it. But
yeah, I know that it was just me not understanding how to play that game, but there would be moments where it's like, I'm fighting enemies.
Right.
But it turns out I can just kind of skip that stuff. Like if I can run through this level, and if I keep moving and I'm good enough, you can kind of dodge out of the way of things. Because I was getting frustrated in parts, but then it was just like, wow, I can just get through this. Don't shoot anything. Just kind of hop and jump my way through this and actually get through with being unscathed. So yeah, I don't understand that. But yeah, so we finished Axiom Verge. I've been playing, so we talked about Yakuza 3 Remastered, Axiom Verge. I'm still playing Mass Effect. I only played like another hour of that game. Again, it's not the fact that I'm not digging it or anything. It's just the fact that I only have so much time to play games, and now it's like most of my time is on Twitch.
Yep.
So I almost want to start that game over at some point. Like I'm early enough to where it's like, okay, I could do this over again and just like stream the whole damn thing. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but yeah, I finally have Morton, and God, that game's so good. I just don't have a whole lot of time to devote to it. So I think I have a goal to try to finish that game and 3 before the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I just want to try to find little windows to at least get like an hour or 2 in there. But
right. You'll run out of Yakuza eventually.
Exactly. Man, I've still got 3, 4, 5, 6, and Like a Dragon, which I'm hoping I'm finished with Final Fantasy before I start Like a Dragon, because it's an RPG. Like the game is not a brawler anymore. It is almost like a tactic style game.
Mm-hmm.
Rich, I bought every Final Fantasy game on Steam. I bought versions.
That's a weird sentence.
Yeah, I bought Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, which they are redoing. Final Fantasy 1 through 6. They have released 1, 2, and 3. Their goal is to release 4, 5, and 6 before the end of the year. So I've started streaming Final Fantasy 1.
Mm-hmm.
That game originally came out in 1987.
Whew.
I started looking into just some information, just kind of scouring their Wikipedia, and I was just like, man, there's a lot of like cool little tidbits here that I never knew.
Yeah.
So while I'm streaming this game, I'm ending every stream with just like a little Final Fantasy fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got some good feedback on that, so I'm going to just keep doing that. Hopefully, Final Fantasy, the first one, will take about 10 to 15 hours. So they do have auto battles where you can just like hit a button and it'll just kind of burn through for you, as long as you don't die. But
and that's a Nintendo Entertainment System game?
That is an NES game. I think the first 3 games are technically NES games, and then 4, 5, and 6 are SNES or Super Famicom.
Mm.
Because not to get technical, but 5 never came out here. 3 or Final Fantasy 3 and 4 are technically 4 and 6. So, there's a whole thing there, but Yeah. Final Fantasy 1 is pretty is like all the other ones where you level up and yeah, just like a normal RPG.
Yeah.
When I was looking up information about Final Fantasy 2, which is something I've actually never played, it's based on how you level up is based on you using your abilities.
Mm.
And you don't actually gain health until you start taking hits. And then it's like training your people almost like Pavlovian style, training your people to get better. So they say you have to kind of game the system a little bit. Like, say you take a hit and it takes like 10% of your health, but you just go ahead and trigger a cure. Well, a cure spell. That's not going to help you at all. You have to let your health get below like 50%. And then when you start using cure, then it's like, okay, I'm teaching my my team here that they need to start building more health. It's like a really weird system. I didn't know this, but I'm glad I stumbled into it because I would have definitely played that game way wrong. Because like my white mage would be healing the shit out of everybody, and it would not have helped anything.
Yeah.
But just real weird that they decided to do that so differently. But that was in that area of, if you look up like Castlevania, the first trilogy, Castlevania 2 is super weird. Legend of Zelda 2, super weird game. Final Fantasy 2 is a big departure from how that series ended up going. So it was
What's
just a weird
favorite
times.
Final Fantasy?
I would have to say, man, I don't know. Like, I loved 5 a lot.
Yeah.
5 allows you to, I liked 5's combat a lot because you can assign jobs where,
okay.
like in newer games, it's like, okay, I'm going to get this person and they're my black mage. Like in Final Fantasy 9, Vivi's your black mage, Steiner's your tank. I know you don't know what I'm talking about, but
Nope.
Any Final Fantasy fan out there is like, okay, yes, I get it. But 5, you were able to kind of play with the job system. So you could have like an army of red mages if you wanted to, and kind of like poke at the game like that. It just made it a little more unique. The main character's name is Butts. So
excuse me?
Yeah, that's a win in my
Really?
book. Yeah, Butz.
Weird.
Yeah, I think the main guy in 2, I think his name is Guy.
Weird.
Like, yeah, I don't know, but my goal is to play every one of those games. So we'll see. Some of them get a little long, but hey, we'll see how long I can stick with those. Yeah. What else? I'm on a West Wing kick right now. Did you ever watch that show?
I love The West Wing, but I haven't watched it in like 10 years.
So we watched the first 4 seasons of this show. West Wing came out in an era of TV where a season was like 20 something episodes. Yep. That's you don't really see that anymore. But the amount of content that Aaron Sorkin and his entire crew was putting out, and it was all super high quality, is so crazy to me. I mean, that show is so emotional and it's so good, and the dialogue in it is just so fast paced and smart and clever, and there's just so much going on with that show. Just so many snide little comments that
that's
because they talk because
that's
they're talking so fast, you could almost miss it. And it's like, hold on. What did CJ just say? Like, holy shit, that is so clever. What a funny thing to say to that comment. Like, it's.
Did you watch The Newsroom?
No, I've seen the scene that gets played out, where it's like, this is America style scene where it's just like, okay. I've seen that a lot, but I never did watch that show. That was like 2 seasons.
Yeah. That scene you're talking about is the beginning of the first episode.
Yeah. So I've seen,
Yeah.
I think I've seen like a couple episodes of it. No rhyme or reason why I stopped watching it. I think just life. But, so we are in the season where one of the main characters ends up leaving. And I think right then and there is when we stopped watching it because we moved and then like just life snowballed and we kind of fell off of it. So we were looking for that. Okay, what do we want to watch next? Like I want to watch The Witcher again before the second season comes out, but what do we want to kind of spend some time with? And we're finally like, okay, let's pick back up on West Wing because it wasn't the show's fault. It was just, we just kind of fell off of it for one reason or another.
Right.
But man, so like starting season 4 and like just getting back into it, my gosh, that show is just fantastic. Even if you are whatever, like, I don't care what political side you're on. Like you can be like the hardest of hardcore Republicans and still appreciate that show. Like it is just so good. It's so good because it is a democratic. It's a whole. It's that. That's what that is. So, it's great. We're going to resub to Apple TV because Ted Lasso, our boy Ted Lasso, is coming back. Whoop! It's such a good show. And then we never finished Mystic Quest. I am really hyped for the Suicide Squad. like way too much hype for this movie. Because it's James Gunn, and I've seen some reviews that they're saying this is like the best DC movie in however long. Like it's just really good. And I think James Gunn, he did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Yeah.
So he took this ragtag team of people that nobody knew, and those movies were really good. I loved Guardians of the Galaxy. They're both really fun to watch, funny. And I think putting him in like a film where it's like, you do you, buddy. You do whatever you want to do. You can make it rated R. You can get crazy with it. Whatever. I'm really excited to see where this movie goes. The first Suicide Squad is like whatever. That game or that movie, it was. I don't even think I finished it. This movie's called The Suicide Squad, and there's this weird like. It's not a sequel. It's almost like they've rewritten a 4-year-old movie at this point, which is fine, whatever. But I like the idea that I can watch this at home. I have a really nice TV. I have a 5.1 like surround sound system. So the fact that I don't have to spend a whole lot of money, I just have to pay for an HBO Max subscription and I get to watch it. It's great. And I thought the Harley Quinn movie was okay. I really liked the Harley Quinn TV show that's on HBO, and there's going to be a 3rd season of it. That show's great. So I like DC. I grew up a DC person. I didn't really get into Marvel until all these really good movies started coming out. Then I started dabbling into the comics and stuff, but for the most part, I was just kind of like, I like Batman, and that's kind of about it. But
yeah,
I'm really excited for this movie. It's getting really good reviews. Of course, the people that get to screen
the cast other than Margot Robbie?
I weirdly like John Cena.
Oh, he's in this movie?
He's in it. So he plays this character named Peacemaker.
Oh, boy.
And I guess they liked his character so much that they've already greenlit a TV show with Peacemaker, and James Gunn is doing it.
Really? Okay.
So it's like, okay, I'm kind of on board with that. It's almost like I'm really interested in the Wheel of Time because they've done the first season, and Amazon is like, yo, you can have a second season, and we'll give you prequel trilogy movies. Just do it. Just have all the fun. Like, we also are spending hundreds of millions of dollars on Lord of the Rings over here. Right. But you guys over here, like, have your fun. You can have all the funds. Just take it. And it just surprises me that I've not seen nary a trailer of this show. But there's already 5 properties that have been introduced. Seasons 1, 2, and then 3 movies. So the fact that Suicide Squad, some high executives at HBO Max or HBO or Warner Brothers or whatever is like, this movie's great. Let's spin off a TV series of it. And let's have John Cena in it. I don't know what it is about John Cena, but I feel like everything I've seen him in, he's great.
Really? I heard he was bad in this new Fast and the Furious.
Oh, I did hear that too. Yeah. I'm not a Fast and Furious fan. Nothing against the films. I've just never really watched them. I've heard he's really bad in that movie.
Yeah.
But the last episode we were talking about the Tour de France, and I misspoke, and I called this movie the Tour de Farce. It's called Tour de Pharmacy. And it's about the doping and all that.
Yeah.
But John Cena is in the movie. The movie's like 45 minutes long. Again, completely worth it watching it. It's an Andy Samberg movie. But to see John Cena just roiding out on this bicycle is so funny to me. And I think he's just really funny. He was in he was in another comedy movie with oh my gosh, I'm blanking on all the names. Scratch that. He's just the movies that I've seen him in, he's just really good. And I think he's got weird comedic chops to him that I would not expect out of John Cena. But
I don't know. I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy, like Chris Pratt carries those movies. Like, who's going to carry this movie?
So Harley Quinn is still the main. And I don't know. Oh, Idris Elba is in it, I think.
Oh, yep. Okay.
But besides, so I think it might be John Cena, Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie, and Idris Elba are going to be like the 3 main people in this movie. But who's the guy on SNL that dated Ariana Grande for a little bit? He's in it.
Davidson?
Yeah, Pete Davidson. Thank you.
Okay.
Pete Davidson's in this movie.
That's a weird get.
Yeah. It's got a weird cast. Like, it's it's another ragtag group of, 10 or 12 people.
Okay.
And they're going to get into some shit. So that comes out Friday. So I'm definitely going to watch that as soon as I can. What else? So I said on a previous episode that I tend to read multiple books at once, and it makes me read a lot slower. I picked up the Slaughterhouse-5 comic. Slaughterhouse-5 is a book by Kurt Vonnegut. You ever read any Kurt Vonnegut books?
Nope.
So he's amazing. Cat's Cradle, Slaughterhouse-5, those are like his 2 most popular books. The book, I read it, I don't know, probably a decade ago, and thought it instantly was like, okay, this is like one of my favorite books. But a decade ago, I kind of forgot a lot about what happens. So I picked up the comic. It's on Hoopla, which is great. They did a comic adaptation of that, and I'm maybe 30 pages into it so far and really digging it. I also picked up Press Reset, which so that is Jason Schreier's new book. So he wrote a book about, I can't remember Blood, Sweat, and Pixels was this guy's first book. So he is a writer. He was previously with Kotaku, and now he writes for Bloomberg. And he's one of those reporters that gets out there and really digs into stories. And he's like a pretty prolific gaming journalist. If you read any sort of gaming journalism, you've probably came across a Jason Schreier story at some point, because he chases leads and he gets a lot of tips given to him. So he read. The reason that I was interested, you're gonna hate me for saying this, is because Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, he interviewed the guy from Stardew Valley. And I was like, I want to read that.
Yeah.
So that, for his first book, was like, it was like, here's 10 different games and we're going to talk about the development of it. And that book skewed a little more towards, we're going to kind of dig into the dark side just a little bit. Like, it's all rainbows and unicorns for like 25 pages. And then like 5 pages are just like, we ended up working like 70-hour weeks to try to get this shit out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Jason is really interested in that side of video game development, which, he's a video game journalist. I totally get that. I am not a video game journalist. I work at a bank, and you work at a telecom company.
Yep.
It is not a unique thing. I'm not here to like do anything. I'm just want to say that I have done my fair share of crunch, as you have.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a unique thing to gaming development. I'm not trying to sugarcoat this, but he pushes a lot of that, which again, that culture is bullshit and it sucks, especially when you don't get paid for it. That part is terrible. And as a person with a family now, I totally get it. You don't want to be away from your family more than you have to be. This new book, I'm liking it. I don't think as much. It's just a little. It's all about that. It's about the dark side of video game development, which, working for big companies, they have a board that they have to appease, and I get it. And a lot of those people don't make good decisions. So then you end up spinning out like indie development studios, and they kind of break out and do their own thing, which can sometimes work out and sometimes it doesn't. So this book is a lot more depressing than I was thinking it was going to be, because his first book was like, here's the joys of stuff, but then it can get hard sometimes. But this book is, shit's hard, and I'm not liking it as much. And I think how he presents the book is a little unique, where he'll set up a scenario and then he'll kind of layer it with like another person, and then it'll get back to that scenario, and then he'll throw another person at it, and then it'll get back to that scenario. So I think how he wrote it is kind of unique. I'm not sure I like the way that the structure of it is.
Right.
But I think the general idea that he's conveying is like, it's like, when you work for these big companies that have to appeal to these like project managers and these people that are trying to operate on deadlines, like, shit can get real hairy and it sucks. And that's what this book is. So if you're looking for something that's a little more just casual, I would say read his first book, because I thought it was really incredible. And I think
I've not read his stuff, the books before, but that last scenario that you just described, like project managers and deadlines, and people 3 or 4 times removed from the actual project, making decisions about what the project is going to be and when it's going to be due. That's my everyday life. I do not want to read a book about that. and that's what kind of surprises me about like a lot of the stories that he writes. Like, a lot of game developers and people that work at big companies go to him and are like, hey, crap is sucky here. And then he writes up a story and does his thing, right? More power to him. But then I read it and go, dude, this is everywhere. Like,
right.
This isn't just games, like you were saying. and I've worked, I mean, I've been a salary employee for 12, 13 years. I mean, I've worked a lot of overtime and not gotten paid. But it's a little bit of a different deal, right? Because a lot of times when I choose to do that, it's because there's a customer on the other end of what I'm doing. You know, there might be, when I worked directly at a phone company, you know, with internet and dial tone phone, old school phone, you know, there were things that if I was like, you know, it's a Friday, and if I were to say, you know what, I'm not going to stay late and do this thing, and solely me making that decision is going to keep this person from having their service for another 2 days, because I am not going to stay an extra half hour or hour to take care of this. And it's like, I can't make that decision. Like, I'm going to stay, right? Like, that's the right thing to do, right? Yeah. I'm going to stay and I'm going to do it. But there's a fine line of being taken advantage of, right?
Sure.
So it's like, okay, I'm going to stay and take care of this because maybe you made a mistake, or maybe you're like on to something and you're like, oh, I want to finish this up or whatever, work overtime, or like, hey, we've all been working really hard for the past 6 months to try to get this thing done. Let's pull together and kind of crunch for a couple of weeks and pull it out, like, you know, go team. But then there's sometimes when like your boss or whoever, or like a project manager will come to you and be like, hey, here's this project, it's due in 2 weeks. And you're like, this is 8 weeks of work. Really? It is? Yeah, no, it's totally 8 weeks of work. That's impossible what you're describing. Well, you just have to figure it out. And it's like, that's when you start writing emails to people, and
I'm buying you a cot at the office.
Well, no, like I'm sure you've had to do this before, where you have to write an email to somebody and tell them they're an idiot without telling them they're an idiot.
Yeah.
Like the whole email etiquette, like how direct can I be with this person?
Right. Yeah.
So that's usually what I end up doing, like, you know, writing up some coded email, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. His big stories, you know, in probably the last few years have definitely leaned that way. So for you to describe his book as that is not all that surprising.
And again, it's unfortunate that that's what people want to read, you know, like, this is kind of personal, but, we've had some issues with the school system. So my kids went back to school this week, and there was a reporter that got out there, like, on their Facebook page, and was just like, hey, we want to write a story about how they fumbled their opening days. And it's just like, I seen some people that were commenting back, and it's just like, here's a list of accomplishments that they got through this week. Why don't you write a story about that?
Yeah, it's all negativity.
Because they've done
negativity. Yeah,
they've done 12 great things, but you want to focus on this one little thing that they fumbled on? Like, what the fuck? Why?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
the analogy that we use at my work is, you know, like the old cartoons where the character be holding a carrot on a stick.
Yeah.
And like making a horse run or whatever.
Yeah.
The analogy we use is it's all stick, no carrot. You're just getting beat with a stick.
My gosh.
And that's what that kind of stuff is. There's never anything good. It's just all all stick.
And that's what gets clicks, and that's what people want to see. So I totally, this is not me faulting him at all. And his book, it made it to like the New York Times bestseller. Like, it was one of the best-selling books. Great. That's more power to him. That's going to influence him to continue to write stories like this, because he gets paid money to do this. But his first book, where it was a little more positive, I had such a better time, like, consuming that than I am this book. Again, it's fascinating. I think he does a good job writing it. He presents his facts. Great. No fault to the guy at all. I would recommend this book, but I would also say, if you want something a little more lighthearted, read his first book. If you want to get into some of the dark kind of corners of game development, once you check out Press Reset, it's there for you.
Corporate America in general.
It really is. So, you know, and again, he's coming at it from a from a gaming journalist perspective, but that is not just a gaming problem. That is corporate America problem. That is, or not just America. That's just a corporation problem.
Mm-hmm.
That is when you are publicly funded and you have stakeholders that you have to answer to. That is that problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's all I got. So
that's a lot. You're a busy man.
We're pushing an hour now. I have some news on here. Is any of this worth talking about?
Did we really not talk about the Steam Deck last time?
No,
man.
It wasn't a thing. It didn't exist.
What do you think about it?
Personally, it's going to sell a lot. Yeah. I don't want one.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't play my Switch like that. I don't play my Switch at all now. If I was going to spend, what was it, $400? If I was going to spend any sort of money, I would want to upgrade my computer. Like, that's where I'm at now, personally. Will my kid want that? Fuck yes.
That's
oh my gosh, yes.
That's kind of what I look at this and go, is this like a mobile Fortnite machine? Or like and then as those kids get older, like mobile Call of Duty, mobile PUBG, mobile whatever, like those kids just grow up so used to playing stuff mobile, and then like, it has to sort of grow.
Right. Yeah, I see a lot of people that's like, oh man, I can take this on business trips, which I don't know how many business trips people are taking in this day and age. It's like, oh, the 4 times you fly, you want to spend $500 on this device. Like, hey, if you got the money, whatever. But to me, I don't see the appeal of it. I don't leave my house. I work from home. And I can stream my computer. I can stream my Xbox to about any device that I would want to. So I don't have a use case for it. There are millions of kids that have a use case to play this thing. The fact that they're saying that you can play about anything that's on your Steam account. Also, you can install Windows on this thing. Mm-hmm. You can install the Epic Game Store. It's a computer. You can hook it up to a monitor.
Yep.
You know what? There's kind of some appeal there. But to me personally, in my situation that I'm in, I don't see anything on that spec sheet that's like, I really want that. The same thing about the Switch OLED. The same thing about the Playdate. Which I don't know if we want to. That's a
weird little thing.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to talk about that at all. I do have the spec sheet on there. Okay, so is there anything else you want to say about the Steam Deck?
No. I'll be interested to see what happens when it actually ships.
It'll sell out.
Yeah.
And I think it'll sell pretty decently. Is it going to penetrate the market though? I think I would be curious to see that.
Yeah.
Obviously you're going to sell out of that initial run. You'll have a few million people that are like, oh, I really want this. I think it could be a good Christmas toy or holiday toy for kids. Switches sell like crazy, but
it's another Stardew Valley machine.
But is it Nintendo games or is it the fact that you can just take it on the go?
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know. It'll be interesting. So the Playdate here. Sorry, I'm gonna keep looking over here. The Playdate. First off, their website looks great.
Wonder why.
Yeah. So this is made by Panic. Panic is a Mac app company that makes really good Mac apps.
Yep.
So I think their 2 best sellers are Coda, which is one of the first IDEs I've ever built a website in. Yep. Same for you, I'm sure. Outside of using, oh my gosh, help me think here. Microsoft Front Page was the first thing that I ever built a website in. And then outside of using just notepads and uploading those to a server manually, I used Coda because Coda has a built-in FTP client, and I was like, this shit is bananas.
Yep.
I'm so excited.
They also make a FTP client, Transmit.
So that was the other one, is transmission or transmit?
Transmit. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So the dump truck looking thing. Yep. So those are probably, now they have some other apps, but those are probably their 2 best sellers. And you know what? They're pretty freaking rad.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. So if you are in that wheelhouse, they're good pieces of software. What was it, Rich? How long ago did they announce that they were making a handheld? It's years.
It was a while ago. Yeah. Because they got into games because they made Firewatch.
Right.
Made Firewatch.
Yes.
And then the Firewatch team ended up getting broke off and bought by Valve, I think.
That's right.
Actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Panic made Firewatch. That got them into games. And then they announced the Playdate. It's had to have been 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It feels like, anyway. So the Playdate is this, like, new age Game Boy looking thing with a crank on it. And you play, like, old Flash style games where, like, you move the crank to, like, move the character, like, interact with it. It's a weird little thing.
It does have a D-pad. And it has an A and B button.
Yep.
And then the crank is on the right-hand side. And if you go to their website, which we'll have show notes to it, it'll kind of walk you through like what am I doing with a crank? And it just shows this. I'm watching it right now, but it's just this little like pixelated guy moving. So you're using this crank to kind of move this character along. Their pitch is pretty unique. So it's a service. You're actually signing up for a service, and they are going to release games every week. So right now they're saying 2 brand new games every week for 12 weeks. So if you buy this, you'll at least get up to 24 games before, I'm going to say the end of the year, but I might be wrong. Just within 12 weeks of after this thing releases.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how full-fledged these games are. I was a little shocked at first. Actually, what did I write here? Let me just read this. Where did I put that? Oh, that was in the newsletter. Okay, so it's in our newsletter, but I was like, there's no way this thing is going to sell. It's $179.
Yep.
The screen is gorgeous, so we'll say that, but it is like a dot matrix printer style.
Right.
Like it looks like you see just dots like making up the screen. It's black and white. And I was like, there's no what? Who would want this?
Jeff Gersman.
The internet went freaking nuts over this thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like sold out instantly, seemed like.
Yep.
Super long waiting list if you want to get this thing. $179. They're selling a dock for it. They're selling a cover. It lasts for 14 days in standby. Its CPU is 180 megahertz. Its storage is 16 megabytes of RAM.
Wow.
It does have a wireless BG or N 2.4. It does have Bluetooth. Its display is a 400 by 240, a 1-bit display, because again, it's just color. It's just like black and white or gray, shades of gray. A D-pad, an A and B button, a sleep and a menu button. It's got an accelerometer built into it, and then it's got the crank. $179 plus tax and shipping. And that's it. It's really quirky.
It's gonna be a niche little thing. I think they said they were only making so many of them too. So
it'll be a collector's item.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, that's You gonna buy one?
No.
Yeah, same here. We're just jaded, aren't we?
Yeah.
All these people are making all these fun things, and we're just like, I ain't buying that. I got Game Pass. I've got a computer. You've got your Shadow. We're good to go.
Yeah, we're not weird at all.
All right. What else did I have on here? That's it.
That's it.
That's a show. Here, I'm gonna hit the button.
Hit the button.
Oh shoot! Is it F4?
F4. There it is.
Yes. All right. Hey, thank you all for watching and listening to this. If you want to follow us, you can go to, if you want to send us an email, you can send that to emails@bitpunch.tech. You can go to our website, bitpunch.tech. You can follow us on Twitch. We are to a point where we're streaming daily, sometimes multiple times a day.
Yeah.
And we are at bitpunch there, so it's twitch.tv/bitpunch. You can follow us on Twitter @bitpunch. You can check out all of our archives are going up on our YouTube channel, and that is @/user/bitpunch. And then we also do a monthly newsletter that got pushed out today. You can find that at bitpunch.Substack.com. We do have a link tree, but all of these links can be found on our website at bitpunch.tech. F3. Yes. I got it.
Technology.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
And we will be back in a few weeks. See ya. Bye.